Fear is the main source of superstition and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct and tends to produce ferocity toward those who are not regarded as members of the herd. To teach how to live without certainty, and yet without being paralyzed by hesitation, is perhaps the chief thing that philosophy in our age can still do for those who study it. Of all forms of caution, caution in love is perhaps the most fatal to true happiness. I do not pretend to be able to prove that there is no God. I equally cannot prove that Satan is a fiction. The Christian God may exist, so may the gods of Olympus, or of ancient Egypt, or of Babylon. But no one of these hypotheses is more probable than any other. They lie outside the region of even probable knowledge, and therefore there is no reason to consider any of them. It is the preoccupation with possessions, more than anything else, that prevents us from living freely and nobly. The fundamental cause of the trouble is that in the modern world, the stupid are cocksure, while the intelligent are full of doubt. In all affairs, it's a healthy thing now and then to hang a question mark on the things you have long taken for granted. I would never die for my beliefs, because I might be wrong. As a philosopher, if I were speaking to a purely philosophic audience, I should say that I ought to describe myself as an agnostic, because I do not think that there is a conclusive argument by which one can prove that there is not a God. On the other hand, if I am to convey the right impression to the ordinary man in the street, I think that I ought to say that I am an atheist, because when I say that I cannot prove that there is not a God, I ought to add equally that I cannot prove that there are not the Homeric gods. A stupid man's report of what a clever man says can never be accurate, because he unconsciously translates what he hears into something he can understand. Those who have never known the deep intimacy and the intense companionship of happy mutual love have missed the best thing that life has to give. We know very little, and yet it is astonishing that we know so much, and still more astonishing that so little knowledge can give us so much power. 3 passions, simple but overwhelmingly strong, have governed my life: the longing for love, the search for knowledge, and unbearable pity for the suffering of mankind. It's easy to fall in love. The hard part is finding someone to catch you. It has been said that man is a rational animal. All my life I have been searching for evidence which could support this. The fact that an opinion has been widely held is no evidence whatever that it is not utterly absurd. Indeed, in view of the silliness of the majority of mankind, a widely spread belief is more likely to be foolish than sensible. Neither a man nor a crowd nor a nation can be trusted to act humanely or to think sanely under the influence of a great fear. When you want to teach children to think, you begin by treating them seriously when they are little, giving them responsibilities, talking to them candidly, providing privacy and solitude for them, and making them readers and thinkers of significant thoughts from the beginning. That's if you want to teach them to think. One should, as a rule, respect public opinion insofar as is necessary to avoid starvation and to keep out of prison. But anything that goes beyond this is voluntary submission to an unnecessary tyranny and is likely to interfere with happiness in all kinds of ways. If there were a God, I think it very unlikely that he would have such an uneasy vanity as to be offended by those who doubt his existence. If I were to suggest that between the Earth and Mars there is a china teapot revolving about the sun in an elliptical orbit, nobody would be able to disprove my assertion, provided I were careful to add that the teapot is too small to be revealed even by our most powerful telescopes. But if I were to go on to say that, since my assertion cannot be disproved, it is an intolerable presumption on the part of human reason to doubt it, I should rightly be thought to be talking nonsense. If, however, the existence of such a teapot were affirmed in ancient books, taught as the sacred truth every Sunday, and instilled into the minds of children at school, hesitation to believe in its existence would become a mark of eccentricity and entitle the doubter to the attentions of the psychiatrist in an enlightened age or of the inquisitor in an earlier time.